All right. What are you showing me today?
Um, this video of I think it's Texas, maybe. There we go.
You you think so?
Whitaker takes her to deep center field, and that is a grand slam for the freshman.
Let me stop it right there. That's not even fair. That
She
wasn't
didn't
even
even
full
swing.
swing.
No,
What?
that was a hat. That was a half swing. She got the contact and was just like, "Yep, that ball went over."
Did it go over center field? Let me watch. Mm.
Yep, that's straight
Yeah,
away
right
center.
over, right over that 220.
Let me just throw this out there real quick. There's no there's no blue monster out there, so I'm just saying.
There's not a blue
There's no
monster.
there's no blue monster. There's no green monster or orange monster for that matter. Just throwing it out there.
I simply, how does one hit a middle out pitch with a half swing?
And her hips were like she poked her butt out to reach for that ball. She didn't even have her hips under her.
What?
There was no hip rotation. There was no like there. She literally just took like an O2 down to your last out, freaking scared out of your mind to strike out, just trying to do anything she could to touch the ball.
Yeah, and it pays off because she gets a freaking grand salami in the stat book.
Sometimes the game's just not fair. That's just what it comes down to. It's just not fair. It rewards crappy swings sometimes,
Whatever.
unfortunately.
Kudos to her, though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
at least you know she has the power to do that. Like, what episode is this? Five? Episode five?
yeah, this is episode 5. The big
Episode
hand,
five.
the big handful.
Let me not put my
Yeah.
broken pinky up in the camera. Mm. On to the Big
All
12.
right. Welcome to Yellaball. Today we're talking about the Big 12. A lot of interesting things happening in the Big 12 this year. We got some transfers who nobody expected to transfer. We got some new teams added to the mix. It's going to be an interesting year in the Big 12. I
I
don't think
think
it's going to be super interesting, but we'll get there.
just a little interesting. Nothing
Yeah.
spectacular.
All right. So let me pull up my notes. What do we got? What happened last year with the Big 12, Ashley?
Well, you got Oklahoma finishing on top, obviously.
No, no,
Obviously.
no. Mm-mm. Can't believe that one.
Who would have thought?
Yeah,
Then you got Texas and Oklahoma State. That's your top three.
yeah, yeah. Makes
Then I
sense. Makes
probably would have
sense.
picked the top three. Not necessarily in that. Oh, I might have put it in that order, but that was going to be my top three anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, from the Big 12, I honestly though, like early on this season, I probably would have said Baylor's probably going to
Baylor,
finish in top three. Then they just kind of fell off there at the end.
yeah, started off hot.
Then they go to regionals and lose to freaking Ole Miss. Oh, God, I
Well,
love softball. Oklahoma won the tournament. So they win the regular season and they win the Big 12 tournament. And naturally, after going, what was it, 18-0 in conference
In
play.
conference.
Yeah, 18-0. They go into the tournament, number one seed, and they just wipe the floor with everybody, to include Texas in the Big 12 championship. They beat Texas 6-1. Like, at some point, we just gotta like move Oklahoma up into USSSA's professional league
Just put them in
or
Athletes
Athletes
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Yeah, like what are we like? Come on, man! Like just get them out of here. They're just way too good for everybody. I don't know. Maybe with this NIL stuff, maybe it'll level out the playing field a little bit. But I feel like Patty Gasso's got some NIL money in her pocket for sure.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
everybody wants to transfer to freaking Oklahoma. Nobody wants to take Oklahoma down. They just want to
No, they just want to
just
join the
yeah,
team.
just want to keep riding that train, baby. All aboard.
Boomer sooner.
Yeah.
Mm. Did you know that since this is just a crazy stat that I had to make note of? Since
Yeah.
2001, this program is 176 and 8.
Like I said, move them into a professional league. I don't.
Well, it gets worse. It gets
You
worse.
know, hold on. Just before you give me the next, just
Outrageous number.
yeah, before you give me the next stat, I understand that like professional softball players, like that's for most of them, that's not like how they make their living necessarily. Like it's kind of more like some side money. It's getting better. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely getting better. Um, but I'm kind of surprised that like we haven't yet reached a point where these professional softball teams are able to hold a draft and draft high school girls.
I'm sure it gets there eventually.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean that's where baseball and basketball have been for forever. The NFL can't do that because
A little
you
scrawny, a
can't.
little
Yeah,
scrawny to be in the
you
NFL.
can't put a high school dude up against a grown man. Like that's not gonna happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, eventually you think that they're the U trip and or no, it's not
U
really U
Triple SA
trips.
Pride.
Yeah, well, I mean, it used to be USSSA's like league, but now it's fast pitch, uh, women's professional fast pitch is what it is now,
Mm.
and USSSA Pride just play in it with like three or four other teams. Um, but yeah, I mean, you got to think that at some point they'll continue to add teams and add teams and add teams, and then maybe we'll get to a point where there's like a minor league, like a farm system. And that's when you'll start seeing like girls start to get drafted out of high school. I think that would be really fucking cool. I said freaking, right?
No,
Oh,
it's all
we'll
right.
cut that in.
No,
Maybe.
I think, I think, I don't know if you not jump straight into high schoolers, but there are obviously super talented girls coming straight out of high school going to play college ball. But then what do you do? I guess it's the same situation with baseball. What do you do with all these other really good players that are already in? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you still draft them. You don't just draft high school kids. You draft the high school kids who exhibit the tools and
Develop them some more, then send
and
them
the
off.
game knowledge, but they're just undersized, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at a high school baseball player, they're usually they're projectable, right? They already throw upper 90s but they can't necessarily sustain that,
Yeah.
right? If we're talking about a pitcher specifically, like they can touch 99, 100, but they're not necessarily throwing that consistently for an entire game. They
Yeah.
may sit, 95 to 97, or maybe they do throw 98, 99, and they can maintain that level for an entire game, but they don't have the command of a breaking ball that they need, right? Or they just lack like one more pitch to give them a bigger repertoire of pitches so they can keep big league hitters off balance more often. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that
So
makes
like,
sense.
so like they have all the talent and the ability. It's just more fine tuning and polishing that, and then putting more muscle mass on their body so they
Yeah.
can make it through 162 games instead of 35.
Just a slight difference there.
Yeah. So, I mean, minor leagues, they don't play 162 games. Like AAA, I think, plays 150. And then each level down you go, the season gets shorter to try to build up, give them like a progressive overload, basically.
Yeah.
Like if you're working out. Um, but yeah, that's what I would imagine at some point softball gets to that.
I'd
That's
like to
probably a
see
long.
it. I
Yeah, I
hot
think
minute
that would.
away.
Yeah, definitely a very long ways away, but it would be cool. It would be cool to see, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyways,
so
back
back
to
to the Big
Oklahoma.
12.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this other crazy stat line. Okay. 176 and 8 since 2001. Okay. They've outscored their opponents. They've outscored their opponents 1,718 to 241.
Oh, man. Oh my
What do
gosh,
you do with that? Like, what? I don't
that's wild.
understand.
That's wild.
Yeah, I don't get it.
You
But
said since 2001?
yeah,
Jeez. In 3 seasons? The 21 season, the 22 season, and the 23 season.
what?
They did
What you
all
mean?
that in 3 seasons.
Oh, that I don't know. I just know that since
If you
2001, they were.
Oh, you said 2001, not 20. I thought you said
Oh,
2021.
that would be insane.
I mean, they've
Maybe it's
pretty much
supposed to be
gone.
2021. I don't know. Maybe I typed it wrong.
You said 176 and 8.
Yeah,
They've definitely played more games than that since 2001.
just out here playing every day for the past 3 years. Um. Anyways, I can't get over the almost. I don't even know the math. 200 times a lot, like six.
They're outscoring their opponents by like 800 runs. If you said 1,000
A
to
thousand
200,
seven hundred and 18. So like
oh
1,500 runs.
wow, neither one of us can do math.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Don't ask us to keep the book.
Bad idea. Bad idea. But last year though, it's just I don't even like looking at their numbers at this point. It's just it's unfair, really. They doubled almost all of their opponents' offensive stats last year. I didn't even put the
Yeah,
numbers down because
let
it's
let's just I put the numbers down, but so let's just you remember like when we were talking about the ACC and we were talking about how good Florida State was, and like
mm-hmm.
as a team they batted like 318 or something like that.
Yeah, had like
Right?
80 something home runs,
No. They had like 65
60
home runs.
something, whatever it was.
Yeah. Then we talked about Duke and Clemson, and Clemson's team batting average was a little bit better than Duke's. Not
Mm-hmm.
much. They were right there. I think Duke was like sitting like right at 300 or like 301 or something. Clemson was just a couple points higher than that. And then they both had like decent power numbers. They were comparable to Florida State's,
Right? Yeah.
which made sense because they were all like right there together all
Mm-hmm.
year. Um, and then we talked about our sleeper picks and like more specifically with Virginia Tech, with my sleeper pick, Virginia Tech hit like 100 and some home runs as a team, batted like 308.
Mm-hmm.
And then we like Oklahoma just kind of puts all that to shame.
Yeah, no, they just stomp
Like
right over
Florida,
everybody.
Florida State scored like over 400 runs. Duke and Clemson were still under 400.
Mm-hmm.
So was Virginia Tech. So was you said yours was Notre Dame, right? Your pick was Notre Dame.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
I'm pretty sure. Um, but yeah, like we look at Oklahoma stuff. I don't know why I said we went. We look at Oklahoma stats. They batted as a team. They batted 366.
Mm-hmm.
Guess how many home runs they hit?
108.
117.
That's stupid. That's
Guess how many?
literally stupid.
Guess how many runs they scored?
Florida State had over 400.
Florida State scored like, if I remember correctly, it was like 436 or something like that.
Okay, so it's above 436.
Let me see. I'll look real quick while you're taking your guess.
Okay, let me think about this. They had 117
Ooh,
home runs.
409. Florida State scored
409.
409. Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna say like four, 460 is my final answer. It's wrong, isn't it? It's wrong.
Let's try 501.
No, no thanks. That's dumb numbers. Dumb.
Oklahoma scored 501 times last year. They got on base almost 50% of the time. 456 OBP. And this this next group of stats, their walk to strikeout ratio, it's just like it's probably one of my favorite stats
Okay.
because when you look at a team that's really good, they're always going to have a higher walk to strikeout ratio. They're always going to walk more than they strike out. Always. When you're looking at a really, really good team. That hasn't been the case for anybody else that we've looked at except for Florida State.
Right.
And Oklahoma walked 242 times and only struck out 167 times.
I I literally don't know what to say. It's just
I mean, they're just good hitters. They're really, really good hitters. I don't know what else to say
patient, good
about it
hand-eye
either.
coordination. Like,
They are the best. This is why I brought up earlier about professional softball drafting high school athletes because like the girls that go to Oklahoma are the best high school athletes in the country.
mm-hmm.
Like there's all these D1 caliber athletes, and then there's Oklahoma athletes, and they're just exponentially better than everybody else. I don't necessarily feel like they walk on campus that way, right? Because we were going through the notes earlier, we noticed that Oklahoma doesn't have they don't have just like a slew of incoming freshmen who were Gatorade players of
Right.
the year, right? Granted, I'm sure their freshmen are still really, really, really good, but they may not. They're probably not walking on campus as just like the absolute best players in the country. You know what I'm saying?
No, they're definitely getting a lot of development in.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure that they're top tier athletes when they walk on campus already. But there's something that in Patty Gasso's system that they're just growing so much more at such a faster rate than anybody else in the country. Like it
Mm-hmm.
just blows my mind. I don't understand it. I would love to know specifically how that program works and
What
how
is
she's
the secret?
yeah. Are you give? She's got to be giving them steroids or something, right?
Something different than what everybody else is getting, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh man, could you imagine that story breaking? Oh,
Oklahoma Dynasty absolutely shuts down after discovery of steroids in every single player. Secret
man,
substance found.
yeah,
Oh, that would be something for sure.
that would be the talk of the freaking softball town.
Oh yeah.
Not, I don't obviously don't want Oklahoma softball to fall. Not that way, but like, boy, that would make for some juicy news.
Give a little
Oh,
excitement to read about.
yeah, for real. Um, yeah, they're hitting aside. Like obviously, they're the best hitting team in the country. Also, the best pitching team in the country. They finished the year with a
Who'd have
point
thought?
nine. Yeah, finished the year with a .96 ERA as a team. Guess how many runs they gave up between defense and pitching?
Two. It can't be two if they've only done that in the past 72 years. 65.
59.
That's pretty close. That's pretty insane. So they scored 501.
Yep. They're outscoring their
Only
opponents by almost 450 runs.
what is this?
It's a video game. And Oklahoma's got all the cheat codes. That's what it is.
Yeah, for real.
That is what it is. I don't think this is going to make a huge impact, obviously, because she was one of the best players in the country the last 2 years. Um, but I don't necessarily think it's going to bring Oklahoma down because they had two other pitchers the last 2 years, who were also really, really good. Anyway, Oklahoma loses Jordy Ball. That's been the talk of the softball community since
It was
June,
announced.
July.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Since Jordy Ball decided that she was going back home to Nebraska, that's pretty much all anybody could talk about. And I don't blame him. because she was 21 and 2 last year. She had a .9 ERA. That's wild. Uh, almost had 200 strikeouts on the year. Like, just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um,
But like you said,
but
the other two pitchers, while I was collecting my thoughts, the other two pitchers, just as capable
yep,
relatively as
yeah,
holding up their end of the deal there, their end of the bargain.
yeah. I mean, they lose Alex Storako too, who was also 18-0 last year. Now, and I mean, her ERA was better than most other pitchers across the country,
Mm-hmm.
just not Jordy Ball. She had a 1.15 ERA, but I mean, she's still 18-0. Like, to lose Jordy Ball and Alex Storako, I mean, that really hurts your pitching staff, but they still bring back Nicole May, who was also 18-0 last year and had a .91 ERA. So, like I said, like, yeah, they're losing two really good pitchers, two phenomenal pitchers, but they still have one of the best pitchers in the country. I don't think anybody except for Jordy Ball had a lower ERA than Nicole May, who also threw over 100 innings last year.
Stanford.
Najri Kennedy had a .97 ERA. Did she not?
Thought it was. Let me look before I say something not correct.
I mean, I could be wrong too. I thought it was a .97. I could be mistaken
I
though.
thought it was 0.57. That seems really, really small.
Ooh, I didn't.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, no. You're right. She had a
Yeah.
.57 ERA.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
so aside from Najee Kennedy, like, who else had a better ERA than Nicole May last year and Jordy Ball? Like,
Mm-mm.
so Nicole May is their ace. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And like,
Imagine going to play against them and you're like, oh, thank God Jordy Ball's not pitching. Oh, just kidding. It's just the other two.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, lose, lose, lose situation.
Yeah. Literally
Ugh.
getting swept.
Tough out there playing against Oklahoma. Oh,
Yeah.
another loss for Oklahoma. I got Grace Lyons, the infielder, stellar shortstop.
Yeah. Shortstop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They lose a couple other pieces too, who were good for them. But I mean, in softball, if your circle sucks, it doesn't matter. You look at Indiana.
Yeah.
Like, just take a long, hard look at Indiana. If your circle sucks, it doesn't matter how many home runs you hit. So, to not to say that Grace Lyons or Haley Lee or Sophia Nugent, not to say that they don't matter, but like, you lost Jordy Ball and Alex Sirocco. You're two of your
Gotta,
two of your three best pitchers,
yeah.
probably two of the three best pitchers in the country. You lost them. So that's those are the biggest losses in my mind. I feel like you probably feel the same way.
Yeah. Uh, those are some pretty big shoes to have to fill.
Yeah.
So
But
we'll
if
see.
anybody's up for the challenge, it's definitely Nicole May, because she pretty much did it last year.
I was about to say she did fine.
Yeah.
you know, nothing,
Um,
nothing
but
too concerning.
they aside from Nicole May, they also have Alyssa Brito coming back, their third baseman, who hit 17 home runs last year, batted over 400. They got Jada Coleman, their center fielder, who was not only did she hit really well and drop 17 bombs, but she was a phenomenal center fielder.
Oh,
She
robbed home
she
runs left and
yeah,
right.
she robbed home runs left and right last year. Their catcher, Kinsey Hansen, comes back, also batted over 400, hit 13 home runs. Tiara Jennings, their second baseman, she's back, also hit over 400, hit 17 home runs. I'm noticing a trend here.
Yeah, I the trend is that these players are just really freaking good and are just going to go up there, hit the ball either over the fence or they're just going to hit it. 400? You got multiple players on your team batting over 400. There's teams that don't even have multiple players batting over 300.
If we want to talk about teams that are just really bad at hitting, um, and I mean worse than the teams in the Big Ten that we talked about last week, we can drop on down to the Division II level.
That's
Talk
for
about one.
that's for a later that's for a later time.
Talk
That is
about one team in particular from the Mid-South area.
Well, that's for a later date. Right now, we're talking about Oklahoma. Thank you.
Like we were talking about earlier, everybody and their grandma wants to transfer to Oklahoma. So what does Coach Gasso do? She hits up the transfer portal, baby.
That's a good one. In
Brings
conference
in
pitcher.
Kelly Maxwell.
Yeah. The old cowgirl. Not anymore.
She's not a poke anymore. Yeah, Kelly Maxwell transferred from Oklahoma State after going 58-20 at OK State. Had a 1.5 ERA for the Pokes, 746 strikeouts through 494 and 2/3 innings. I'd say it's
pretty good.
Pretty good numbers. She'll be right there behind Nicole May.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go out and grab another transfer from Liberty who was also a pitcher. Carly Keeney is the transfer from Liberty. 64-24 with the Flames, but ERA not what you would expect from an Oklahoma type pitcher. She had a 2.23 ERA. So
I bet you that drops.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about earlier, there's something in the water in Norman, Oklahoma, where these girls just develop. I don't know what's going on. They get a utility from Furman and Riley Ludlam, and another pitcher from Wisconsin, Peyton Monticelli. So, I think is that the most transfers for one team that we've talked about? If it's not, it's pretty close.
I want to say it is, but
I think it's the most that we've talked about. And to add to those 4 transfers, they bring in another 4 freshmen, none of which are pitchers.
Well, they're bringing in the experience for the pitchers.
Yeah. That's where your team starts. If your circle sucks, there's nothing you can really do. Yep. Just ask Indiana.
On to Texas.
Longhorns, baby. Hook 'em.
Is it this or is it this? This, right? That's a Longhorn. This? Ooh.
Pretty sure.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
This is hang loose, bro.
Surf's up.
Yeah. Mahalo.
Oh, man. Anyways, back to Texas that we didn't even start talking about.
Old Tejas.
Okay. All right. Anyways, so they finished as the Big 12 runners up, went to Supers. They were 45-15 on the season. Sorry, let me correct myself. 45-15 and 1 on the
and
season.
and Juan.
Juan. Knew you were about to say that. Batted 390 as a team, or 325 as a team. Got on base almost 400, so they were at 390 for their on base percentage. They only lost one player to graduation. Pretty interesting there.
You talking about Courtney Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still playing though.
Oh yeah.
She's a
She
grad
is as a
transfer.
grad. Yeah. I was like,
Uh,
nope, she definitely left Texas.
nope, she's a grad transfer at Ole, Mississippi.
Olay. Yeah,
Don't let the Rebs get hot.
they won't.
Oh, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Let's
Yeah, they
just
lost
talk.
Courtney Day.
Yeah,
What?
let's talk about the run differential between Oklahoma and Texas.
Let's hear it.
Oklahoma 501. Remember we said
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Outscoring everybody in the freaking world. Texas 370.
That's not bad though. It's just the
No,
fact that
it's
Oklahoma
not. No.
scored 501. It makes the 370 sound like freaking
God,
tiny.
man. I know everybody in the country like is super excited about Oklahoma and what they've been able to do for the sport, but I also know that everybody in the country is tired of watching Boomer Sooner.
Ain't that
Like,
the truth?
and oh man, to be a Texas fan, just just hating it.
Well, my thing too is like I'm pretty tired of watching Oklahoma just run over everybody. But my other issue is that I'm like, oh, Oklahoma softball's playing. Like I should watch, see
I
how
should probably
productive they
watch
are.
this.
Like,
Yeah,
let me see if they can put
yeah,
up a 10 spot on this opponent.
yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah, it's like Alabama football, honestly. Like not the last 2 years. Last 2 years haven't been so great with Alabama, but prior to that, the last 15 years,
Yeah, sick of it.
yeah, you're just like, I can't not watch the Alabama game. But and since my wife went to Alabama, like I'm an Alabama fan by default. I didn't go there, I didn't graduate from there. Um, as we've discussed in previous episodes, I'm a Memphis Tiger and we're terrible. Um, but it's okay. You know, we're we're already bowl eligible.
That's right. Can't say the same for
We've
some
only
teams.
lost we've only lost 2 games this year. So how about that? One on Saturday. Anyway, but yeah, it was like Alabama. Like watch the game, root for them, but I went to a couple games. Like I went to one where they played Mississippi State. Went to one when they played Texas A&M, and I went to one when they played Western Kentucky. And and I went to when they played West Virginia for the season opener in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And then I also went to the Sugar Bowl the first year of the college football playoff when they freaking lost to Ohio State. But all that to say, every single game, every single one of those games that I went to, except for the freaking Sugar Bowl, was an absolute blowout. And it was like, it was fun, but it was also really boring.
Yeah.
And any game that I've watched on TV within that time frame, it's just kind of like, bro, I'm not trying to sit here and watch you just beat people into the ground. That's not fun. That's not exciting. I want to live on the edge a little bit.
I want my heart to
I,
race in the fourth quarter.
yeah. I need to know I'm alive. And that's kind of how it is watching Oklahoma softball. It's like, okay, well, you're beating the brakes off of these people.
And you're going to keep
And
beating the brakes off of them.
yeah, and it's like, you guys really good. You're exciting in the first inning. And then after that, I kind of just want to go home. I wish the game would be over.
Yeah. Poor Big 12, man. That sucks.
I mean, really, though, like poor Pac 12, you know?
Ooh.
I
What little
mean,
there is.
going to be a real tough matchup between Washington State and Oregon State over the next few years. Wonder who's going to win the conference championship.
50-50 shot.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to be the runner up. Hey, they should both make freaking NCAA tournament, though.
Sure. Just for them to
Anyway,
get down
so
there
yeah,
and
I
get
mean,
smacked around.
yeah. Anyway, so Texas brings back Mac Morgan, their ace from last year. She was 18-4. They also bring back Estelle Check, who was their, I can't remember if she was number 2 or number 3, because they also had Citlali Gutierrez, who was in the pitching rotation as well.
Mm.
I just know Mac Morgan was their ace, and she was pretty solid for him last year.
Yeah. I don't
But
know. Well, I don't know what their pitching order was.
I mean, outside of like they just don't have the same circle that Oklahoma does. So it's just I don't I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like Oklahoma's just really good, and I don't see Texas really competing with them very much, or anybody for that matter.
Right.
They bring back Mia Scott, who batted 377 last year, stole 19 bases. They brought back Leanne Good, who was up the middle for him in the infield, batted 325, dropped 8 home runs. She swiped 10 bags. Their catcher, Reese Atwood, last year, she dropped 11 home runs last year, most home runs on the team. Only batted 291, but drove in 43 RBIs, was a
Still
huge.
doing her job.
Yeah, like her job was to drive in runs, and she did that. So on the defensive side of the ball, though, like really couldn't ask for a better catcher. Like you go type in Reese Atwood's highlights, and there's just highlights of her throwing people out by like miles from her knees. Like I watched her throw a girl out from her knees at third base with a sidearm, just like flicked it over to third.
Just
And
yeah, got
and
it. No problem,
and
guys.
and this girl was out like just hosed. Like it wasn't even close. Like 3-4 steps before she ever even got to the bag. Like just
that'll make you feel slow for sure.
yeah, like just next level behind the plate. So I mean, when you're talking about your catcher, I mean, when we were talking about Florida State with Michaela Enfield, like she didn't have a super high average, but she hit 13 home runs and drove in a bunch of RBIs, and she commanded that pitching staff and was a great backstop for the Seminoles. Same thing with Reese Atwood here, like not hitting for a super high average, but high enough to keep her in the lineup every day and be a producer for them. But she's just that backstop that you need. Like she's involved in the catcher's involved in every single pitch. Every single pitch she's involved in. And reset like you can't really replace a catcher like Reese Atwood. So I bring in transfer Jolie Mitchell from Notre Dame, who was phenomenal for the Irish.
Not bad for
344.
them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not a well, I mean, her first 2 years anyway, she wasn't a home run, not a real home run threat. She had only hit 2. But then
So,
last year she comes out and hits 15. So probably going to do more of the same at Texas. I have to imagine.
yeah.
And she through 3 years she stole 27 bags, so that's averaging 9 a season. I think she had quite a few.
I think she had like 15
Uh,
or something last year.
that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what my notes are. Yeah, she had 15 stolen bases last year and had 17 home runs throughout her career. Not 15 last year and 2 before that. So, but I mean, she's still a good hitter. Got some wheels.
Yeah.
I expect to see her in the lineup for Texas for sure. They also bring in one. Well, they bring in a bunch of freshmen. They bring in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They bring in 6 freshmen. But one in particular, not too terribly sure how to say her last name. Her first name's Tegan, last name Kavan. Cavan. We'll say
Come
Cavan.
on.
Tegan. You gonna French it up a little bit? we'll say we'll say Cavan. Tegan Cavan, pitcher. Um, youngest player invited to the U19 USA softball national team tryouts in 2021. Did not play high school ball, probably because they didn't have a high school season because of snow. So she played club ball, and throughout her club ball career, threw 772 and 2/3 innings and struck out over 1,400 batters. That is a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah, I'm thinking she's probably going to see some time in the circle.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
If she doesn't, I really don't know what Coach Mike White's doing, but he gets paid the big bucks. I don't. So
This is true. This is true.
however, if somebody wants to pay me the big bucks, I may take you up on that offer.
You probably would.
Chances are high. Chances are indeed high.
Yeah.
But Yellaball would be coming with me for sure. And I really only thus far have had one assistant coach who I didn't think was going to leave at the end of the year. Is that a touchy
Anyways.
subject?
Anyways, on to Oklahoma State. Yeah, touchy subject. Oklahoma State, third in the conference, 47-16 on the year. Not too shabby. Not putting up numbers like the other two teams. 321 batting average, 408 on base percentage. That's better than Texas. But a 2.75 team ERA. Not doing the trick. Not doing the trick in the circle for them.
I'm not gonna lie. I got some different numbers than what you got,
What?
but yeah, I got. They're not like far off, but off enough that it would make a very big difference
Okay,
in
well,
the
let's hear
grand
them.
scheme of things. I have 324 for a team batting average, 411 on base percentage, but a 211 ERA.
Ooh, that one does make a difference.
Yes.
That one. Okay, let me. What? It was just loaded. Okay, let me pull up the stats. Pitching.
Either way, yeah, like you were saying,
So that says 211.
yeah. So you were drunk when you took
But
these notes.
no, the PDF says 275.
Mm.
The XML or whatever it's called, those stats say 211.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think the PDF stops. I should really pay attention. The PDF literally accounts for 3 games.
yeah.
Must have been a busy day at work when I was doing this.
Isn't every
Anyways,
day at work a busy day?
of course. Yes. Anyways,
Yeah. So the Pokes lose Rachel Becker, who was just phenomenal for them at the plate. I can't talk. Bat 443, had a 558 on base percentage.
stupid
That's
number.
insane. Uh, we talked about Kelly Maxwell earlier transferring to Oklahoma, which is it's just crazy to me that people like they go to one school and then they're like, you know what? I really want to be at my rival's school. Like I just really like what they got going on over there. I don't blame her,
I was about to say, can you blame her?
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame her, but at the same time, it's just kind of like it's a little bit of a slap in the face to the old Poke Nation.
Yeah, probably feels like a little bit of betrayal.
Yeah, yeah. They got a bunch of other girls that are returning too. Caitlin Carwile, Cheyenne Factor, Morgan Wynn, Taylor Tuck. Or no, those are girls that they lost. I don't know what I'm doing.
I was wondering
Yeah,
what was going on
yeah.
there.
Just lapse of judgment. It's 11 o'clock.
Bedtime.
Just not reading my notes like I should be. Their returners are in fact Lexi Kilfoyle, who was 16-5 in the circle last year. Really good for him. Not a huge strikeout thrower, but still had a 1.7 ERA. I mean, she had 130 strikeouts, but she threw more innings than she had strikeouts in most of the really, really good pitchers that we've talked about have
Yeah.
had almost double the number of strikeouts to innings pitched. But I mean, still, Lexi Kilfoyle kind of reminds me of Millie Thompson for Clemson,
Mm-hmm.
where like she just knows how to get outs. Because I mean, she's still holding opponents to a 188 batting average. So like, no, you're not getting their opponents aren't getting a lot of hits off of her either. So she's not
Yeah.
having to strike people out. She's just pitching.
Defense is doing the work for her like they should.
Yeah. She's getting the ground balls, she's getting the pop ups, and letting her defense do what they're supposed to do. Yeah, then Michaela Wark. You got Michaela Wark on your list too, don't you?
I do. As a freshman, batted 322, 396 on base percentage, not too shabby. Had 10 doubles and 11 home runs. So pretty solid power hitter for him coming back this year. And then I think what's impressive to me is her defensive stats. She only had a 991 fielding percentage. I don't know why I added only in front of that. 991 fielding percentage on 428 chances. Pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Pretty good.
that's pretty good, especially for a freshman. They still some Mississippi State girls. Well, one Mississippi State girl, Macy Graff, was an infielder for the Bull infielder Jeez. Jeez. An
Your
infielder.
hamster's not turning up there. It's not.
Yeah. I was trying to, my mind was, my mouth was trying to say infielder, and my mind was already on bulldog. So I just like combined it all, and it came out infielder. So
Whew.
yeah. Anyway, Macy Graff, infielder for Mississippi State. I think she's from Texas. I believe she's from Texas. She may actually be from Oklahoma, but she's from that area anyway. So she transfers back home, closer to home anyway, to Oklahoma State. Decent for the Bulldogs, but I mean, it's Mississippi State, so
One team that didn't make postseason.
yeah, yeah. They also have Jillian Puller, utility player from McNeese State. Had a pretty good career at McNeese State, and then last year, not sure the story on this one. Only played in 9 games at the start of the season before she decided to leave the team. Prior to that, she was an everyday starter. Had a really good batting average at 367, seven home runs. She got on base literally 50% of the time. And also had 19 stolen bases. So it wasn't a playing time issue. There's something else going on there. But Oklahoma State, I'm sure, is very glad to have her.
Yeah. I'd
They
like
got
to know
one
the
more.
story behind that one, though.
Yeah, I would too. I wouldn't be surprised if it had something to do. I'm not even going to speculate because I don't know. I don't know what was going on with Miss Pullard, so I don't want to. I don't want to put that in the air and then upset some people. So
Good call.
anyway, there's one more transfer on the list. I know you were dying to talk about.
Yep. Let me just tell you, Caroline Wang, previously Caroline Hudson, not two different people, same person. Very confusing.
Super hard to find though,
Yeah.
because we want to enter the transfer portal, but also get married and not put
nothing.
Put that out in the air for everybody to know, so that way when we're trying to do research on it, just inconsiderate. Caroline.
Looking at it, I'm like, wow, Caroline Hudson, Caroline Wang, they got the same exact stats. That's crazy.
Yeah, I pulled them up. And I was like, oh, they even look the same.
They're twins.
It's a doppelganger.
Anyways, Caroline Hudson Wang. That's what we're rolling with. Catcher from that was Liberty. She's a catcher transferring from Liberty. Bibberty. She's a pretty solid player for him. It's just a great quality commercial. Liberty Bibberty. What a genius.
He doesn't even have a mustache.
That's the one that was on a second ago.
Yeah, I know. That's the one he says Liberty Bibberty in.
No, he also says Liberty Bibberty in the lighthouse one. Or the Statue of Liberty.
The one where
I don't remember where they're at.
The one where he's wearing the pleather jacket in front of the river.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he says it in the one that you saw earlier too.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm getting replaced by this guy. He doesn't even have a mustache. And then he puts one on and it's like crooked.
Great job, Liberty Mutual, on your commercials. Very entertaining. Anyways, Caroline Wang, ASUN Player of the Year 2022 and 2023. What an accomplishment. pretty stellar offensively for him. 318 batting average, hit 15 home runs, 17 doubles.
What's
What?
your hair doing?
Don't know.
Uh,
Oh, I need to go to sleep. That's probably what happened. I leaned back to laugh, and it just, I don't know what it's doing. Could be. God.
Oh man.
Got so excited to talk about Liberty Bibberty. Scratch my head and my hair just, I guess it's stuck. Anyways.
So the Pokes bring in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 freshmen. That's a pretty big freshman class.
Mm-hmm.
2 of those freshmen were Gatorade Players of the Year. Carly Godwin. That's the one that you had, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
North
I'll let you
Carolina.
talk. Yep, I'll let you talk about Carly.
Yeah, North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year. Last season she carried 731 batting average, 809 on base percentage.
That
Okay.
is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then also proceeded to hit 20 home runs.
Yeah.
And this is perhaps the best one. In 131 plate appearances, she walked 35 times and just one singular lonesome strikeout. That's crazy. Pretty solid.
So let's pretty solid. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think I would take one strikeout all the time.
That's an understatement, bro. Pretty solid. Yeah. Yeah, pretty solid. Yeah, I had all that information too, and she had very similar numbers her junior year as well.
Mm-hmm.
So not just a fluke season, but let's just talk about those plate appearances for a second. Okay, so in a high school season, you're talking at most you're talking 40 games, and that's pushing it.
That's going far into the postseason.
Yeah, in our state, in Mississippi, I mean you got a 28 game limit on the regular season,
mm-hmm.
and then you got 3 rounds before semifinals, and they're all best 2 of 3 series. So say you played the full 3-game series, all 3 of those rounds. So you're talking about 9 extra games.
Mm-hmm.
So 28 plus 9 is 37. Then you got a 3-game series for the semifinal round. So now you're at 40. And then a 3-game series for state. So you're potentially 43 games. 131 plate appearances. That's a lot of at bats.
That's
I bring that up specifically because that means the rest of her team is hitting a lot.
Yeah.
They're a Hernando of North Carolina, a Lewisburg, Northwest Rankin. Moving on, Katie Cutts, pitcher. Also, the Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year last year. She was 19-0 on the season last year with a .45 ERA. She had 268 strikeouts through 108 innings pitched.
Where are these people? What are they eating? What is their workout routine?
I don't know, bro. I think it's just in the water. She's a purebred, you know? She's from Virginia. She's from them Appalachian Mountains. She just runs off of moonshine. Throughout her high school career, she was 44-0 with a .5 ERA.
Okay.
That's
I'm letting that one sink in my brain. And it's just point
all I
0.5. 44
all
games,
I
and you go 0.5 ERA. No.
all I can say is over the last 2 years of my coaching career, I could have used a Katie Cuts. That's all I'm saying. That's all. We would have won a lot more games.
Yeah.
Um. Okay, so that wraps up the top three from last year: Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State. Um, Baylor was right there at number 4, and they gave Oklahoma their only loss last year early in the season, and
Yep.
everybody thought Baylor was just like going to go off and go on a tear. And I mean, they had a really good season. Don't get me wrong; they had a 40+ win season, but they just kind of fell off there towards the end. They go into regionals, not really riding high. They don't really have a lot of momentum going into that regional, and they lose to Ole Miss. And we got 3 other teams coming into the Big 12 this year. All right, so these 3 teams that are moving to the Big 12, you got UCF, Houston, and BYU. We would have Cincinnati, but Cincinnati didn't have a softball team. So, of the 3, UCF is definitely by far the most competitive. They've proven themselves to be at the same talent level or the same caliber of play as your Power 5 powerhouses. They've competed with Alabama. They've competed with Tennessee. They've competed with Florida. They've competed with Texas. They've competed with all these Power 5 schools day in and day out. Like they're a really good ball club. They're like Louisiana, Lafayette.
Yeah.
Just a mid-major team that's just really, really good. And I think they're going to be fine in the Big 12, as fine as Texas and Oklahoma State. They're still going to get beat into the ground by Oklahoma. Houston and BYU are going to have a tough time.
Yeah. BYU is pretty dominant I think they're coming from the
The
WCC.
the West Coast Conference, yeah.
Yeah. They were pretty dominant in that conference, but that conference is definitely different from the Big 12.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Houston, on the other hand, not very dominant in the conference they're coming out of. So,
no, they were about as good as Memphis,
which is not pretty.
which is really good. Is really good. You take that back. Memphis is really good. Talk about my Tigers.
Memphis soccer, maybe.
Memphis women's soccer.
Women's soccer. Yeah. I don't know about the men's, but women's soccer.
They won the AAC for the 3rd year in a row.
Yeah. And then they got shafted by the NCAA and got a poor seeding. But whatever. It's besides the point.
It's because they're with the American. They're a mid-major. They're not the SEC or the Pac-12 or some other Power 5 conference. Pac-12 doesn't even matter. It's not even going to be a thing.
Yeah, no, it's out.
Anyway, with those 3 teams moving into the conference, I expect there's going to be a little bit more mix-up between 2 through 7 or 8. Yeah, you might not see Texas and Oklahoma State in the top three anymore. More specifically with UCF, like I'd imagine, and we were talking about this a second ago, we both kind of feel like UCF has a really good opportunity to be Big 12 runners up.
Yep.
Um, and I could see Baylor figuring out how to take that third spot.
That is, I don't know necessarily about next year, but I think within the next couple of years, my top three would be Oklahoma, UCF, Baylor.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Well, after this year, Oklahoma won't be there. So,
R.I.P. the
so
SEC.
yeah, so the Big 12 will turn into a UCF, Baylor, Oklahoma State knockdown drag out every year.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, Memphis gets into the Big 12, then
Okay.
Memphis has a chance. You know,
Yeah. I don't think the 2-16 team's gonna
why don't you stop
hold it
talking?
down.
Just quit being a Debbie Downer. Okay, how about that? How about that? Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so some notable players to watch aside from the Oklahoma's whole team. um, and the other players that we talked about for Texas and Oklahoma State. I have Mackenzie Wilson of Baylor. She batted 326 last year, had a 436 on base percentage, and stole 21 bags. I just based on what her stat line is, I feel like she batted high in the lineup. I think she was like there one or two. I'm pretty sure she's a little lefty slapper. Because she scored 53 runs, just didn't have very many RBIs. She had 23 RBIs, so she's not batting in the middle of the order. Doesn't really have near as many people on base in front of her to drive runs in. But she's getting on base a ton, whether that be through a hit or walks, because she also walked 31 times. And then when she gets on base, she's stealing a bunch of bags. So, like I said, pretty sure she's batting in that one or two hole. And then I also had her teammate on there, Dariana Orme, who was their ace last year, was 14-8 on the year, had a 1.99 ERA. And she is who beat Oklahoma last year.
I have the player from Baylor that hit the 3-run home run to put Baylor over Oklahoma last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I have Shaylin Govin. I think is how you. I don't. I think that might be how you say her name. I'm not 100% sure. She though batted 371 with a 510 on base percentage.
That's really good.
Yeah, 46 walks. I
That's a
think.
lot of walks.
Yeah, I think she batted. I think she batted somewhere in the middle of the lineup. Not 100% sure, but I do know that she hit 11 home runs with 52 hits. And in the middle of the season in March, she tore her labrum,
Oof.
continued to play, and continued to have a pretty good season.
That's toughness right there. Torn labrums are
Yeah,
not fun. Not fun at all.
yeah. So kudos to her. You wouldn't catch
Yeah.
me doing that, that's for sure.
I can't say that I would be trying to play with a torn labrums. I know
Mm-mm.
somebody who did though.
Really good.
You know her.
Do I?
Yes. She played
What?
for us.
Oh, I do know her. My bad.
Yep.
I know a lot of people with torn labrums. I didn't know which one you were talking about. So,
Well, this one in particular also the year before played with a like completely I don't not completely like a dislocated pinky that was also partially broken
ew.
for like for like 2 weeks before she went and got it checked out, and then ended up having season-ending surgery and had a pin put in her pinky to keep it straight.
And it's not even straight anymore.
Well, the pin's not in her pinky anymore,
True.
but yeah, like just jacked her pinky up in the first game of a doubleheader, and then just kept playing on it because she just wanted to play. Couldn't swing, so that I had to just tell her to bunt every time. But she came up to bat with somebody on base just about every time, and so she would at least bunt somebody over into scoring position.
There you
So
go.
that was she
Sack
was
bunt doesn't hurt.
yeah, she was productive at least. But yeah, I had her play center field with a catcher's mitt because she got tired of sitting on the bench and wanted to play, and her parents said that was okay.
Don't you wish all players were like that? I sure do.
Yeah. Anyway, who else you got?
Uh, Malaysia. No idea how to say her last name. Akoa, maybe? Ochoa?
Ochoa. Yeah, Ochoa.
Malaysia Ochoa from Iowa State. She's an outfielder for him. Um, she was the only Iowa State player that started and played all 55 games, and she was very productive for them offensively. She had 319 batting average. She had 13, nope, 12 home runs. Sorry, 12 home runs, 13 doubles, 406 on base percentage. I mean, just doing a lot for him offensively. Not the best defensively, but where that lack, she made up for it at the plate. So pretty. Um, no, never mind. Oh yeah, she. I was about to say. I think she also brought some speed to him. I could have sworn I had stolen bases, and I do. She had 9 stolen bases, 9 for 11 in that, 44 runs.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like some to 9 stolen bases in like 60 games is
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily call her a speed demon.
No, not a speed demon. Just speed ish. Speed ish.
She's like that girl from the Little League World Series.
Okay. Just
She got sneaky speed. She's just sitting over there on first base, trying not to be suspicious.
so dumb.
I'm gonna throw one more on there. On other notable players, I'm gonna talk about Sarah Willis for Central Florida since they're in the Big 12 now. It sounds so weird, Central Florida in the Big 12.
Doesn't
Um,
really make sense to me, but it does make
yeah,
sense that they're moving up to a Power Five. The Big
yeah,
12 pulling Florida, it does that part doesn't make sense, but whatever.
yeah. You would think they would have, the SEC would have jumped on that ship,
Yeah,
but it's neither here nor there. Sarah Willis was their ace last year. She had a 1.65 ERA, went 19-4 on the year. Again, she's one of those pitchers, kind of like Lexi Kilfoyle or Millie Thompson for Clemson, who's not gonna blow you away with strikeouts. She just knows how to pitch and get outs. So I mean, especially with Central Florida moving into the Big 12, I'm really interested to see how she does against some of these Big 12 hitters, especially when you got to play Oklahoma for a series. That's going to be tough.
That's gonna hurt probably a little bit.
um, but yeah, who is your sleeper?
Count of three, or are we just going one and one?
Well, let's just go ahead and acknowledge that the easy sleeper pick would be between Central Florida and Baylor.
Right, but weren't they both? I don't know if Central Florida was. I would assume they were, but I know Baylor was ranked at one point.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know for a fact if Central Florida was ranked. I'm pretty positive if they weren't ranked mid to late season, they were definitely ranked early in the season because they're always ranked. So, I mean,
yeah.
I'll look at their schedule from last year real quick.
If I wasn't convinced that Central Florida or Baylor is going to be right there in the top three.
Yeah, I mean, Central Florida was a 40-win team last year.
Yeah.
They were 40-21 on the year. So their schedule, unfortunately, doesn't say if they played a ranked team or if they were ranked. So, but I know that they were ranked last year at some point. They may have been ranked all season, but yeah, Central Florida and Baylor are the easy sleeper picks.
Yeah.
Which, all that to say, if you chose one of them as your sleeper, it would be completely understandable.
I originally picked Baylor. Then I changed it.
2.
Well, are we doing it on a count of 3?
1.
2.
3, 2,
Tech,
1. Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. Yep.
I can't say my sleeper and say 1 at the same time.
I thought you were going up. I said 1, or you said 1. I said 2, and then you said 3.
Okay.
Words come out, and then you were like, "No, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1."
Okay, so we both chose Texas Tech for our sleeper. Okay. So yeah, Texas Tech was 31-22 last year. They were only 5-13 in the conference, which is terrible.
That was last, wasn't it? They finished last in conference. Regular season, at least. Hold on, I have it. Yeah, they tied with Kansas.
Yeah. I knew that sounded a little bit off, but yeah. So it's pretty terrible in conference. Not a very good overall record. But there were teams in the NCAA tournament who had worse records than Texas Tech.
That there were.
All right. So why did you pick Texas Tech?
Let's see. Let's see. I think I was mostly basing that pick off of, one, their overall team batting average and their on base percentage wasn't awful. 308 and 380. Okay, so be it. But when I was looking at their schedule and I'm looking at scores from the season, they play against Texas, they lose 3-4, 3-4, and then 3-8.
Yeah, they're
hanging in there.
Yeah, they're in every ball game.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think Texas Tech can hit with everybody except for Oklahoma.
Right.
It's their pitching, which
the 4 ERA for this. That's definitely
you're talking about another. I can't really say you're talking about another Indiana because Indiana hit better than they did, and they put up way
Yeah.
better power numbers. Um, Same thing with Virginia Tech, but when you're talking about just competitiveness and just being in most ball games, like Texas Tech is the same as Virginia Tech, the same as Indiana. Like they're a competitive ball club. They just, I mean, when you're having to play Oklahoma, Texas, and Oklahoma State every year,
Yeah.
it's that's pretty tough. And but then I said it earlier, if your circle sucks, there's not a whole lot you can do. But I mean, all that to say, like they had Sage Hoover, who was their ace last year. Um, she went 14-3 on the year. Her ERA it wasn't good. It was a 2.45. But I mean, she's still 14-3 on the year. Like she's
Yeah.
still giving them a chance to win the ball game. So I mean, you really just you got to hope that Sage Hoover can either figure out a better out pitch or I don't know, just kind of figure out how to pitch a little bit better somehow, whether it be gain more velocity or figure out an out pitch. Um, develop some more spin on the ball so she can get that movement. Um, but also the rest of their pitching staff they have to get better.
That's what I was about to say. Is you also got to take. I'm pretty sure they have 5 pitchers that are coming back this year, and so I
Mm-hmm.
think you got to obviously fine tune their ace, but also take your other pitchers and work with them because as a whole pitching staff, you've got to pull your ERA down
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah. I don't necessarily think that that's gonna happen. Unfortunately, I think it would be great for just college softball in general if Texas Tech. I don't know why that keeps twisting me up.
I don't know, but it's tripped you every single time, every single one.
I know. I I think it would be great for college softball to see the Red Raiders. Um,
That's just
to,
that's just as hard to say. Red Raiders is way harder than Texas Tech.
for whatever reason, it's easier for me right now tonight. Um, but yeah, I mean, to see the Red Raiders really compete in the Big 12 and really be, a solid ball club moving forward, like that would be great for college softball. It would be great. It would be great for the Big 12. It would be great for college softball as a whole. Um, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to really turn that pitching staff around,
Yeah,
because that's kind of a tough one to go from a 4 to think that you could get into the 2s as a pitching staff, as dropping 2 points.
that's that's rough. I would
That's
say
a little,
hopefully they can at least rock a 3.
yeah.
That's still difficult though to I don't know.
When you're talking about one pitcher in particular dropping a whole point on the year, that's that's tough to do, but it's realistic. It's an attainable
Yeah.
goal. When you're talking about dropping a staff a whole point or 2 points, 2 points isn't even fathomable in most cases,
Mm-mm.
unless you replace your entire pitching staff. But
Which they're not doing
uh,
because they have 5
yeah,
coming back. So
right. So, but yeah, I mean, sleeper pick Texas Tech.
yeah, I like the pick. I think they're at least not finishing last this year or tying for last. a team coming
Uh,
into the conference has that one.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, no shade or anything. Not throwing the shade. Okay, so easy pick, Big 12 winner, Oklahoma.
Kansas. Oh, could you
Oh man.
imagine? Just absolute upset in the conference tournament. Oh,
I mean, they beat Oklahoma State last year.
yeah. Man, that would be awesome. Just wow. It's not gonna
Oh,
happen, but
you know what would be what would add even more awesomeness to your awesome is if they somehow, if Kansas somehow won the conference tournament, got the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, and then just sucked in regionals. That would be hilarious.
oh,
Or like met up with Oklahoma in the Norman regional and then won it.
no, Oklahoma's done.
And then sucked in
Man, I would
supers.
write an article about that so fast.
Oh yeah.
Just so many things to say.
All right. Do you have a hot take for today?
No, I don't think I have a hot take.
No, I got a hot take. I don't think Oklahoma State's going to make it back to the World Series this year.
Oklahoma State.
Come on, you think I would say Oklahoma?
I'm just just double checking.
I mean, I guess I could say that would be a super hot take. That'd be like the hottest of
That'd
takes.
be Inferno take.
I'd be asking for hate on that one. But yeah, I don't with losing Kelly Maxwell and not really having a whole lot of players returning for the Pokes. I
I could
just
see it.
don't. Yeah, I mean, I think they'll still have a good year. I think they'll still make the tournament, but I don't think they'll get out of regionals.
I don't think they're finishing in the top three in the conference this year either.
Yeah, I don't. I think they're with UCF being added to the mix and Baylor being as good as they were last year and still having quite a few players coming back. I think UCF and Baylor and Texas are they're going to give Oklahoma they're going to give Oklahoma State the business and push them out.
Yeah, I agree.
I I still think, like I said, I still think Oklahoma State's going to be good, but they're not going to be the Oklahoma State they've been the last 5 years.
Mm,
And after
yep.
regionals, they're going to be sitting at the house.
Watching,
They're
probably
going to be
watching
UC, they're going to be
Oklahoma.
UCLA. They're going to be UCLA from last year. They're going to host the regional in Stillwater and go 2-Q.
Oh, tragic. Absolutely tragic.
Except they won't really be UCLA because they won't win 50 some games. And then
And
just
have
crap
a,
the bed.
I was about to say, have a 50 something, it's like 52 or whatever it was, win
Yeah, they were
season. And
like
then,
yeah, they were like 52-7.
yeah. Dang.
Yeah. But yeah, Oklahoma State's not going to get back to the World Series. They won't make it out of regionals. That's my hot take.
That's a good hot take.
Thanks. I made
You're
it up
welcome.
myself.
Okay. Be really
All right.
funny if I just Googled
Oh
chances of
yeah,
Oklahoma State making it. It just pops up, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you made it up, sure. That would be funny.
I can
Oh,
say that I did not Google or see any information. Some odds didn't go to like Caesar's Palace and check the odds on the Women's College World Series for this year. So I literally made that up myself. came to that conclusion all by myself with the rattle that's going on up there.
Yeah, your hamster said it's bedtime for you. Can't pronounce words, can't read. Can you just say Texas Tech one more time? Just see if it works out for you.
Texas Tech.
That's all you got to do. It's super easy. Yeah, you can spit
Tejas.
out Red Raiders.
I'm done with you. That's it for this episode of Yellaball.